Hello everyone! Thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I'll be talking about how much does it cost to study in the US universities. If we've never met before, my name is Radmila and I'm a US education expert that helps students from all over the world to get into the universities of their dreams in the United States. So every Sunday, I'm showing up here on Facebook to talk about the most important topics such as application package, such as preparing documentations, finding scholarships, how to find universities, and mostly, and most importantly, I'm here to answer your questions about application process to the United States universities. So if you're not signed up yet, please do so, because every week I'm showing up here at the same time to talk to you about what's most important. So I'm very excited to dive into this topic. I'm receiving a lot of messages about how much will it cost if I go to study in the US, how much will it be to cover the tuition, how much is it to cover your living expenses. So today I'm going to be answering these questions. And also, before I dive in, I want to announce that this month I will be launching an online course about how to get into your dream US university. This is going to be everything you need to know about applying, getting accepted, and winning a large scholarship in the US universities. My team was preparing this for an entire year, gathering this information from students who have already started studying the US. So this is going to be incredibly important and incredibly useful for you. So the course will be launched this month. Stay tuned. I'm so excited to share this with you. Okay, so once I'm diving in, let me know, guys, where you're from. Very curious where all the students are coming from, and also leave your questions. Questions because I will be answering to them in the end of the live. Okay, so let's dive in right now. All of you know that studying the US universities is extremely expensive. It may be honestly any amount of money from $8,000 to $70,000 and even $80,000 for 1 year. It's extremely expensive, and honestly, without receiving financial aid, it's almost impossible to get there. So let's talk about the prices. So the prices really differ depending on the rankings of the university, depending on where is it located, depending on the program that you're applying for. So we'll be talking today about two major expenses. This is first, tuition. This is the price tag for your education. And second, it's your living expenses. So you need to be ready for both, because two are very separate. So first, tuition. Tuition in your university will depend on a few factors. First, is the university private or public? Second, what is the rankings of the university? And the third, what is the degree that you're seeking? These are the three most important factors that usually impact the price. So let's briefly go through all of them. So public versus private universities. That's right that public universities usually cost much cheaper than private ones. It's because some funding for public universities comes from the government itself, from the state government. And private universities usually have funding from their alums, from people from all around the world, and they have much stronger academic reputation. So the average of tuition for a public university is usually around, you can find maybe 15, 20, 25,000. I would say 20 on average, 20,000 a year, when for private university, you might be paying from 40, 50, 60,000 a year. So the difference is very big. Private universities are much more expensive than private ones, but private universities are those ones that give the most generous scholarships. So I'm going to come back to this at the end of this video. If you're not sure which universities are private and public, actually it's quite easy. Just look at the name of the university. The public universities, the governmental universities, will usually have the name state in the name, like Michigan State University, Ohio State University. So that's really easy to spot. Second part is the price, the tuition, based on how highly university is ranked. So if it's a really popular university, have very big academic prestige, a lot of students are applying there, they have a lot of funding from their alumni, the university is going to be much more expensive. And in this regard, I'm talking about universities such as Harvard, Columbia, Yale, and some other really big names. Once you know the university is very highly ranked, it will be more expensive than universities that are not well known yet. That's why they're trying to invite as many students as possible. Third factor that impacts the tuition, it's the cost based on the degree that you're seeking. So usually bachelor is going to be more expensive just because you're going to be spending 4 years studying for a certain program. Bachelor is much more common to get in the United States. Master is something that you might seek additionally to a degree, which is still popular, but it is going to be cheaper because for 4 years of bachelor, it might cost you from 150,000 to 200,000 for 4 years. This is absolutely crazy. And of course, you can find cheaper universities, but the point is that for the bachelor degree, you would just have to spend much more money than for master. So these prices is not only what matters. This is only the tuition. So now I'm going to be talking about living expenses. Hi guys, hi Praful, Shatan, nice to see you all. Very glad that you are joining me again. Thank you so much. If you have questions, please let me know in the comments. Okay, so let's talk now about the living expenses. So living expenses are usually those expenses that are covering the room, the food, the travel, textbooks, insurance, certain fees. It could be clothing, basically anything that you will be spending money on once you are in the United States. You might need to buy a laptop, you might need to have, I don't know, whatever you will want to buy. This will be your living expenses. And they primarily depend on where you are living. So if you're living in a big international city, like for example, I was living in New York, and it was extremely expensive. Living in big cities, international big cities, is extremely expensive. Everything costs money. But also living in big cities like this offers so much more opportunities. But you have to take into account that the amount of money that you will be spending on rent or on transportation will be much higher than if you go to a small suburban area somewhere, maybe in Arkansas or in Oregon. Whatever you choose, you need to take into account that the prices will depend on the state. So if you're trying to find a cheaper university, you might need to look for universities that are located in a more suburban or rural areas where you don't have to spend that much money. Okay, so now what do you do with all this information? How do you find money? Not only for the tuition costs, but also for your living expenses, because these two parts are quite separate, and you need to be able, in order to go into the United States, you need to find money for both of these areas. So first, I want to refer you to the video I made about how to finance your education in the United States. I believe it was the 4th Facebook Live, so be sure to check it out because I'm covering a lot of types of financial aid that are available for international students from all over the world. It's very informative. Definitely check this out because you will be able to, you will know all the types of financial aid that you are eligible for. Second, if you're looking for scholarships, I have already prepared a guide on 21 pre-selected by me links for all international students that where you can start your research of scholarships and where you can already apply if you qualify for them. So I'm gonna leave links to my Facebook Live and to the guide in the description of the video. So be sure to check this out because it's a great starting point if you don't know yet how to finance your education, because I'm really covering it there. Okay, so now here's a few things that you need to understand. While university might be really, while the tuition price might be really expensive in some prestigious universities, these are the universities that give the most financial aid. So these are the universities that have a lot of money, and they are giving this money away to students that they really believe in. They have a big funding from alums from all over the world, and they are willing to spend it on a student that they believe in. So like for example, I saw some statistics that in some really high rankings university, around like 60% of students can get financial aid. Not necessarily the full financial aid, but they will get some sort of a financial aid. That's already something, like 60%, that's a lot. So you need to look for universities that offer money to international students. So while your instinct might be to go for the cheapest universities, just because you want to go and study into the United States, you want to get a great education, and you're looking for any university, you do not want to go and study in the cheapest university, because simply you are not going to get a lot of money there. So while it's cheaper, they're not going to finance you. They might not finance you, and it's not going to be very prestigious. Like you just don't want to spend 1 or 2, 3, 4 years studying in the country at the university that just won't bring any value to you as an individual. So again, as you might go for a cheaper university, you really should not do that, because try applying for better rankings, for more prestigious universities, because you absolutely can do this. There are students from all over the world that do it every year, and universities grant big scholarships to these students. So something for you to keep in mind. Okay, so now to recap, the price tag on, you need to take into account two expenses factors. So it's going to be the tuition and the living expenses. The tuition depends on how highly university is ranked, what degree you're seeking, and what's the first one that I said? Let's see, yeah, and whether the university is public or private. And the living expenses mostly depend on where the university is located, because if it's a big international city, it's going to be much more expensive. So, okay, so now I have a few really good questions. I'm going to be answering them. I received them from the students. Actually, one of the questions that Praful Yadav asked me a few, I think on the previous Facebook Live. So let me know if you're still here, because I'll be answering a question. You asked me about the community college. So this topic is kind of related to what I was covering today. So community colleges are universities where students can go and get receive 2 years of education. They're usually much less expensive than any other university, so it's a good option for students who don't have a lot of money, and then you can transfer to receive a bachelor degree in another university. So yeah, community colleges is just much quicker, simpler and cheaper way to get an education in the United States, and at the end of the 2 years you will get the associate degree. So this is not the bachelor degree. If you want a bachelor degree, you still need to transfer to for the bachelor program after the community college. So what I want to say is that while it's the cheapest option, this is not the best option. So first of all, the graduation rate from these universities is not high. Is not really high. So if you look at the amount of students that graduate from community colleges, it's not going to be as high as from a good university. It can be 30%, 40%. It also really impacts, it actually reflects the students that go, like who exactly is going to get this education. Because usually it's students who are from very poor communities, who are not necessarily studying good. They have the lowest grades and they were not able to get into any other university, and that's why they're going to community college. So if you are trying to go into the United States for a great education to bring value into your home country, I do not recommend applying for community colleges just because it's not going to bring you any value in the long run. You should strive to apply for a much better university, much highly ranked. Okay, I have a question from, I hope this answers your question, by the way. Second question is from Rihan Khan. He is asking whether there are any universities under 7 or 8,000, I assume, a year. So, Rihan, of course, there are plenty of universities that, I mean, not that many, but of course, the US has around 5,000 universities right now, and you can find any university you can just imagine of. So of course there are universities that offer programs only for 7 or 8,000 a year. Probably it's going to be excluding living expenses because living expenses is a separate expenses category. I found a few, you can take a look. It's California State University, it's Alcorn State University, Minot State University, South Texas College. I'll write them down as a response in this video, this Facebook Live. So there are universities that offer even for lower than 7 and 8,000, but it's the same as about community colleges. These types of universities do not necessarily attract the best types of students. It's not going to be a great educational program. It's not highly ranked. If you go anywhere with this university on your resume, my guess will be that they probably won't even recognize this university. So it's not really going to make a big impact on your career or on your resume. So, and especially if you want to bring, so if you want to stay in the country, in the US, I really don't think that's a good option for you. And it's honestly, it's the same as when you go back to your home country, because these universities just are not going to bring that much value to you. However, this is absolutely your decision. If you want to apply for one of these universities, there are plenty of them. Okay, and the last question I had from my student that was submitted to me, it was from Arunapha Kara. So I have completed my master's in agricultural biotechnology. That's impressive. And as a part of my course curriculum, I have done a dissertation work, but I don't have any publications. Will it impact my chances for studying for PhD in the US? Okay, so publications for PhD degree, publications are very valuable. Honestly, it's valuable for wherever you are applying. It's going to be treated as a big bonus for when they're looking at your resume. If they see that you've been published somewhere, Americans are treating this as a very, very respectful work that you've done. And so it's definitely going to be a big bonus. However, for PhD, I'm not sure. I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker for admitting you if you have everything else. Just if your entire if your resume is absolutely perfect, I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker, but it is definitely better to have a few publications, to name a few, and they will definitely be impressed. But if you are not sure, I recommend just finding the university that you're interested in and just email them. Email them and ask about the publications, how important it is. Admission committees like good questions. So first, research the university you're interested in and respond to to them, email them if you can't find the answer to this question, because I think it's a really good question and they should clarify things for you. Okay, give me just 1 second through comment. Everyone, thanks so much for joining. I'm based in the Netherlands right now, whoever was asking. Okay, so I'll answer one more question. So from Shota, he's asking if you have decided to stay and work in the US after studying, will this new university help you to find any job? It's actually an amazing question. I think it's worth to have an entire Facebook Live about this. I will do it once. Just in brief, you do need to find a job, of course, to stay in the country. So you have 1 year of OPT, which is optional practical training, where you can stay in the country and work if it's related to your field. But universities might help you find a job. They might organize meetings with different employers from around the state. They might help you with your resume. They can help you with giving you tips and teaching you how to do the interviews. So they definitely can help you find a job, but mostly it's on your own. You're gonna have to be really looking out for employers. You will have to be applying. You will have to go for interviews. No one's gonna find a job for you. What I'm trying to say, it's still gonna be on your own. You're gonna be on your own in this regard. But universities do offer really good career services where they can teach you how you can get a job. But then you're on your own, and you will have to do it on your own. Okay. So, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a really, I think it was a really nice topic, but let me know what you are guys interested in for the next topics, because I want to try to make these videos as informative, as educative as possible. I want to make them really useful. So if you're really interested in some certain topic, you can't find answers to it, just let me know. I will make an entire Facebook Live, and yeah, just really trying to make it really useful. And just if you have some questions that are still unanswered, comment them below in this video. Just leave a comment. I'm going to be picking the most important, interesting questions, and I'll be answering them in my next Facebook Live. Also, if you guys are interested in having a private consultation with me, also do not hesitate to book it with me. We can talk about your chances about applying to the US universities. We can prepare your application package together. We can discuss what universities you should apply to and where the scholarship opportunities. So whatever you want to discuss in regards to application process to the United States, do not hesitate to book me for a private consultation where we will be talking only about you and your chances and how you can make that happen. So I'm gonna leave a link for my consultation in the description. So again, thank you so much for joining. Like this video, comment below, share it. Please let me know that you like it, because it's really important for me. And thank you so much for watching. And I will see you next week, same place, same time. Bye.